So I'm just going to tell you right now, the end product of your Google business profile is business, is bringing customers and clients to you, ideally people who need what you have to offer and are willing to pay for it.
Hi, and welcome to the Creative Solutions Podcast. I'm your host, Izolda Trachtenberg. On the show, you'll hear interviews with innovative creative artists, entrepreneurs, business executives, and thought leaders. You'll have a front row seat as they explore their internal, uncharted waters about what inspires them to grow, achieve, and innovate. Get their insights and realizations as I tease out answers to questions they've never pondered before. You'll also learn how to supercharge your innovative drive, mindfulness, and communication skills so you can succeed. This episode is brought to you by my favorite productivity hack, the Brain FM app, this podcast's host, Podbean, as well as my book, Speak From Within, Engage, Inspire, and Motivate Any Audience. Hey there, this is Izolda with a special announcement. I know that you're excited about this week's guest. I am too, but you need to hear this before we get into the episode. While Eric Henning teaches general principles of money and does individual business coaching, he cannot and does not provide investment, tax, or legal advice. Please consult a professional licensed in your place of residence for specific tax, legal, or investment advice. Hello, and welcome to the Creative Solutions Podcast. I'm your host, Izolda Trachtenberg. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen. If you're here, you know it's the second Monday. That means it's Money Monday, and I am being joined by the amazing and incredible and the very generous and gracious professional magician, Eric Henning. Today, we are going to talk about something very, very important. If you are a small business owner, medium business owner, creative entrepreneur, whatever you are, you need a Google business listing. And Eric is going to talk to you because he's mastered the art of attracting clients online. He's going to reveal his insider tips on how to optimize your Google business profile, stand out from the competition, and draw in new customers and clients. I'm very, very excited to have Eric back on the show for Money Monday. Eric, thank you so much for being here. Welcome.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Always happy to help, Izolda.
Oh, you're amazing. And I appreciate it because this is one of those things that we all tend to overlook. Like we all go, oh, I need a website and I need a mailing list and I need this and that and the other. And yet, what do we go to? What do the vast majority of us go to when we need to find something online? We go to Google. And there is such a thing as Google business listings, which means if you have a business, right, you can have a business listing on Google. Can you talk a little bit right at the very beginning? What does it mean to have a Google business listing? Because there's a lot involved and a lot of us have no idea this even exists.
Well, that's right. Most of the time when you search for a business, the first thing that comes up is their Google business profile. This used to be called Google My Business, but in 2021, Google changed the name to the Google business profile. And if you have a business and you have a website or you've published your business on the web and it's in a directory or whatever, chances are you may already have a Google business profile out there. You may just not have claimed it yet. And so we'll have a list a little bit later in the podcast episode of the specific things to do step by step. But one of the things you need to know is that when people search for a business of your type in their area, a lot of the things that come up are Google business profiles. Sometimes they come up even above the ads that are paid for, which is kind of cool. And a lot of it is based on physical proximity to the searcher. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that as well. So you probably already have a Google business profile. And the only question is, how are you managing it? Is it helping your business or hurting your business? And the good news is that Google wants you to manage it because Google's whole business model depends on people finding good information when they search with Google. If they don't get what they want when they search with Google, they're going to go to someplace else for their searches. Google didn't become the number one search engine and doesn't own YouTube, the second biggest search engine, by accident. It's because they do everything they can to make sure that when people search, they're actually getting accurate stuff. And that means You're going to want to make sure that your Google business profile accurately reflects your business, that it presents your business effectively. It presents your business in an attractive way to bring in new clients, that it is a place where people can leave reviews, which are very important, and we'll talk about those. And you also want it to be a gateway to your website or to them contacting you. You want to make it so that it will persuade people to actually engage with you and hopefully do business with you. And the beauty of this is it's free. It's free. It takes time, it takes work, and it can get a little complicated. And there's kind of step-by-step things to do. And I know that can be a little intimidating for people, but let me remind you that as a fine artist or a performing artist, you already do complicated, very kind of detail-oriented stuff all the time. If you're a musician, you know how to read music. That process was not particularly artistic, but it was mechanical, but it was necessary for your art. If you're a fine artist, you're a painter, you learned a lot about the chemistry involved in mixing paints and watercolors and what kind of canvas to use, et cetera, what kind of lighting is best. These are all mechanical things that you learn that enable you to do the art that you do. And you've learned them maybe a long time ago. So it just seems a part of you now. If you're a magician, you learn the sleight of hand moves. And if you're an actor, you learn blocking, and you learn the script, and you learn line readings, and how to move in the costume and how to handle the props. All of these things, if you're an artist, you already do a lot of detail-oriented stuff, and you do it because you understand what the end product is. So I'm just going to tell you right now, the end product of your Google business profile is business, is bringing customers and clients to you who can do what you want, who ideally people who need what you have to offer and are willing to pay for it. People who have money and interest now. That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to attract people and make a match. It's like a gigantic, worldwide yenta, where we're trying to match you with your ideal clients and customers. It's not about trying to snag people who don't care about you. It's not like those spam emails you get all the time that you don't care about. It's helping people who really need what you have to offer to find you and go, oh, this is exactly what I'm looking for. Here, take my money.
Wouldn't that be nice? Okay, so but something you just said kind of makes me go, huh. You need to, we're always being told as business owners, you need to niche down, niche down, niche down. And you just said when they're looking for what you offer, do you want to be all things to all people in your Google business listing? Or can you still niche down as a creative professional and then reap benefits from claiming your Google business listing because you've niched down into the very specific thing or things that you do?
Well, I'll put it to you this way. Find me in a profession in which specialists make less money than generalists. I'll wait. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Which doctors make more money, general practitioners or specialists? If you're a nurse, if you're a general nurse, do you make more money than, say, a psych nurse or an infusion nurse or a cancer nurse or a surgical nurse? No, absolutely not. Specialists make more money because people understand that specialized knowledge is more valuable and difficult to acquire. And so, yeah, you're gonna have to say no to some business. Now, let me give you a caveat. There are businesses, if you're running a karate dojo, that has a geographic location. You want to bring in people. So you're going to say, probably, we teach karate to people from 8 to 108. And you're going to have classes for senior citizens. You're going to have classes for kids. You're going to have classes for women, for self-defense. You're going to have those specialized things within a general arc of business because you're dealing with a geographical area and a limited number of people that can enjoy your services. If you're selling a product online, if you're selling paintings or etchings, or you're selling music downloads or whatever, then your market is worldwide. So you can be as specialized as you want. And I guarantee you there will be at least between 10 and 100,000 people around the world who are going to be super fans of what you do, if they can find you, if you can reach them. And so part of it is what kind of business you're in, right? If you're doing a gallery opening, that's going to be geographically limited. But again, you can have people on your email list, and you can, if you're doing an opening in Wilmington, Delaware, or Washington, D.C., or New York, or Long Island, or Chicago, then you can reach those people. So even if you're geographically limited, I'm a physical performer. People see me in person. I can do a tour. And if my email list includes people from all over the country who have found me through my Google business profile, then I can just target those people and say, hey, I'm coming to Chicago, buy a ticket. Right. So, it really depends on how you use it. But first, people need to know what you do. They need to know what makes you excellent, and they need to know what makes you different. Because there are only three things you can be in business, Izolda. You can be first, you can be best, or you can be different. Most of us are not going to be the first person to do our business. And most of us are probably not going to be the best in the world at it. So the choice is very simple. We can be different. And so we need to find people whose crazy matches are crazy.
That sounds almost like matchmaking. I love it. So here's the thing though. When you're in this space, and this is something I don't know about Google Business because I obviously am not using it as well as I could be, can you update it like you would a website? Like you said, oh, when I'm on tour, I can go, hey, people who found me in Chicago, I'm going to be coming and singing in Ann Arbor, let's say. I'm going to be coming and singing at the Arc in Ann Arbor. Come and see me. Is that something you can do in your Google Business listing? Or is that something you're hoping people who found you will find because you've claimed your business?
Well, here's the thing. Not only is your Google business profile, and it's not a Google, that's what it's called, a Google business profile. The Not only is your Google business profile probably the first website people find, it may be the only website they see. They may never get. I guarantee you that probably 80% of the people who call me up to hire me for an event to do magic have never seen my website. They've seen me, they've seen the Google business profile, and the phone number is right there, and they click and they call. That's what happens. And so much of the time, they don't even get to the website. So they're going to see your Google business profile, and they're going to make a decision based on what's there. So the only question is what's there going to compel them or persuade them or encourage them to engage with you, or is it going to encourage them to move on to the next person? So you can have the best website in the world, but if your Google business profile is turning people away, they may never get to your website, because your website listing is probably going to be, when they do the search, even if they search for you specifically, Izolda, your Google business profile is going to come up in the search above your actual website. So they might not even get to your website. So you can put all the work into the website you want, but if the Google business profile doesn't jive with it, doesn't match with it, doesn't complement it, doesn't work with it, then you can really be hurting yourself. So it's very, very important. The Google business profile is kind of the receptionist desk of your business.
Mm-hmm.
It's the first impression that people get frequently. And so that's why you want to manage it. The good news is it's pretty simple to manage. It was pretty easy to manage, and it's free. It does take time, does take work, but it's not hard. It's not hard at all.
Okay, so you said it's not hard, and immediately I, who always get these things wrong, go, okay, so what is the bare minimum that I need? What are the key pieces of information that any kind of business owner or creative entrepreneur or artist include in their Google business profile to make it most effective?
Well, you need your business name. It needs to be an accurate business name. If Google has put one together, it might not be accurate, so you need to make sure to change it. By the way, if you have a Google business profile and you're not actively managing it, you may need to claim it. Let me just explain what that means first. You will claim it, and then Google will send a postcard to the address of the business. And they'll use not an address you put in, they'll use the registered business address in your state, if it's registered, or if they see bank records or whatever, they'll find that registry. They'll find the actual address somewhere else in their system, and they'll send a postcard to your business address, and then it'll have a code on it. And then you go back in and have instructions of what to do. It's really easy. So while you're waiting for that postcard to show up, you can gather the information you need to do the other stuff, so that once you've claimed your business profile, you can then just immediately go in there and put what you need. So the first thing you need is your business name, your business address. Now, even if you don't have a physical storefront, unfortunately, the Google Business Profile was primarily designed originally for storefronts, for physical brick and mortar businesses.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're going to want a physical address, not a PO box. So you're going to have a physical address. It's an unfortunate thing, but if you're in business, that's the way it is. You're going to need your contact information, a phone number, email, again, to make sure that's accurate. One of the things that I like to do is use a specific email, like a Gmail address that I only use on the Google Business Profile. So when I get an email from that email address, I know where it came from. It's like a coupon. I know that email came from somebody who was clicking through on the business profile and not from my regular website. Just an idea. And you're going to need a Gmail account anyway in order to do all of this. And you can edit it not just in the search results, but you can actually edit it in Google Maps. But you want your business name, your address, you want your contact info, and you definitely want to put your website link in there, of course. But you also want your business category. And you choose one category that's the most closest to what you got, and then you can choose a bunch of subcategories.
Mm-hmm.
And then you want the geographic area that you serve. And this is important. You want that to start out being as close to your physical address as possible, because if you decide you're going to be clever and list a geographical area that's 60 miles away, what it means is people who are 60 miles away who are searching for your business, you're going to come way lower in the search results because your address isn't as close to them.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to really center it around where you are and keep it in, a certain radius if you're physically serving a physical area. Again, if that's not an issue for you, don't worry about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then comes the very important description of the business. Now, this is really important. Now we're going to get into keywords that people are searching for. And Google will help you with this. They'll tell you what people are searching for. You can go, look in, and ask Google, or you can go into your Google account, and there's analytics there, and they'll tell you. You can ask them, say, what are the most popular search terms? For example, if I can ask them, I say, what are people in Maryland searching for when they want a corporate entertainer or a magician? And it'll tell me all the most popular search terms. And so now I know what words to organically write into my business description so that it'll come up higher in the search results for the terms that people are most searching for. That is enormous. That is huge. That is what's called search engine optimization. And it's something, again, dead easy to do. Google wants you to be good at this because, again, they want people to find what they're looking for. So they will help you promote your business to the people who are looking for what you do because they want people to find what they're looking for. So you've got this gigantic business trying to help you do business, which makes me very happy. So that description is really, really important. It's your kind of elevator pitch. In 750 characters or fewer, you write about your business. Keep in mind the perspective of somebody who's looking for what you do and who knows nothing about your business. Describe your business as a whole, include what you offer, what sets you apart, include the most important keywords, as I said, that potential people are looking for. Add the date that you opened your business. Again, your location and your service area we talked about. Another thing that is it's kind of a vestigial remnant of the brick and mortar business is your business hours. Now, again, those of us who are performing artists, business hours are kind of meaningless, but it does allow people to say, oh, he's open, I can give them a call, or she's available for a phone call. So I just put, by appointment, or I'll put open all the time so that they can call me when they want to. And you can change holiday hours and stuff like that too. Attributes are things that are about, again, a remnant of, if for people who are running restaurants, like Wi-Fi is available, outdoor seating is available, kids menu, gluten-free menu is available. But you can do things like, you can add other things. You can have things like, I do custom portraits, or I will do your pet portrait, or whatever. And so you can, again, add things that will help you come up in the search when people are looking for that, and adding more detail. The more details that you can add in terms of what people might be looking for or what services you offer, the more likely you are for people to be able to find you.
I think that is all fabulous. It's so crucial because, the rise of the entrepreneur, there's so many people who own their own business and are trying to make it. And I like that you said, first, best, or different. One of the things that I've noticed as far as my own business and anything I write up for the business is, in addition to everything you said, which is all gold, I focus a lot of my language, and I've been doing this with my social posts and with my blog posts and also with the podcast, on the benefits they will receive by working with you. A lot of that kind of language, like, what are you going to get out of working with me as opposed to working with someone else? Though, and I'm not saying compare yourself, but you need to figure out what is the immediate benefit that you're going to get by working with me. What makes me, as you said, different, and also probably, hopefully, better for what you're trying to do.
Right.
So let me ask you, though, you were just mentioning to me right before we started recording this that you had a huge jump in the number of visitors to your Google business profile the first quarter of this year. I would love it if you talk about, if you have that, can you talk about that personal experience of how your Google business profile, the way you list it, the way you configure it, really directly contributed to getting new clients, getting new visitors, and getting new business?
Thanks. Well, yeah, it's July now, so we're talking about 6 months. And in January, I was a presenter at the largest convention for family entertainers in the United States, Capitol Convention near Washington, D.C. And I teach there, semi-regularly. But one of the other seminars was led by a guy named Fernando Alvarez Jr., who we'll talk more about later in the podcast episode. And he did a whole presentation on Google business profiles and websites for entertainers, which I found to be refreshingly candid, and in plain English, it was very accessible. And he had a bunch of knowledge that he dropped on us, and I started applying that. And within the first month, the amount of traffic on my Google business profile rose by 40%. Since then, in the last 6 months, that the total from January has tripled. In other
Wow.
words, my monthly traffic is 3 times what it was 6 months ago. I'm getting more contacts. People are also clicking through to my website more. And again, Google reports this to me. They send me an email at the end of every month saying, here's your Google business profile results. They send that to me, they email that to me, and I don't even have to ask for it. It's there, and I can compare notes. So it's really pretty cool. The other thing so I did a few things. I tweaked it a little bit. I made sure the correct website was on there, et cetera, et cetera. I changed my description, like you said, to talk about the benefits, but I also changed it to talk to the 4 people. Remember last episode, we talked about the 4 people that see your website, the people who are prestige oriented, the people who are social media oriented, or want the testimonials, the people who want your story, and the people who want to know your availability and price, or, is this guy any good? And so I have that, but also, like you say, the benefits of my magic versus any other entertainment choice they could make. And so I'm still in the process of tweaking that. I'm constantly reworking it, try to refine it, try to make it better. But it does seem to be doing something that's really, helpful. The other thing I did, and unfortunately, you can't do this on a mobile device. You can only do this on like a laptop, which is silly, is I got rid of a lot of old photos of me performing for children because I'm really getting out of that market, and I'm doing more corporate adult stuff. And I replaced it with more up-to-date photos that have the benefit of not only being more timely, but looking like what I actually look like, as opposed to 10 years ago. And so now you see these photographs, and soon I'm going to be adding video, and I'm going to be adding talking head videos where I talk to people. Like I'm going to do a video this week about Christmas in July. I'm going to say, listen, it's time to book your holiday shows, because if you wait till September, all, the caterers, the venues, and the entertainers are all going to be booked up. Now's the time to do it. And now's the time to do it and get your date that you want and your best price. Just little things like that are a benefit to the viewer, because I'm helping them achieve what they're trying to achieve. The other thing that the Google Business Profile contains is reviews. And this is so important because the proportion of people who are interested in what other people say about your business is enormous. The internet has trained us to look for reviews, right? If you want to buy something on that gigantic online store, what do you look at? You do a search. I always filter it for 4-star and above reviews, and even if some of the reviews are spurious, if something's got 3,000 reviews, chances are most of them are genuine. And so people are going to look at those reviews. That's one of the things that's going to be a real deal maker or deal breaker for them. And we can talk about the reviews, at length. That's a subject we could do a whole podcast on. But that's going to be one of the things that people see initially. And sometimes people don't even look at the photos. They don't even look at the description. They just go right to the reviews.
Yeah. And it's interesting because to me, reviews are phenomenal. Absolutely. When someone cares enough to leave a review, that's lovely. But frankly, I personally encourage them. If I'm working with a client and it's going particularly well, I will say, hey, it would be great if you, and then I have a little QR code that they can just go boom and leave a review, whether it's for the podcast, whether it's for my Google Business Profile, or whether it's for a review on my website, depending on what kind of business we're doing with one another. Do you have any thoughts on how to encourage clients and other people to leave those reviews on your Google Business Profile?
Absolutely. You know what my rule is, Izolda? Make it easy for the monkey to find the banana. That's what Seth Godin says, and I agree with him. We got to make it easy. So the fact that you have a QR code that goes directly to the spot on your Google Business Profile where they can leave a review is exactly the sort of thing you want to do. I actually created a shortened link, and Google, by the way, in your Google Business Profile, they will give you a link that you can share with people. It's enormous. It's like 3 pages long. So what I do is I go to tinyurl.com or one of those, and I plug that in and I make a different one. So mine is https://tinyurl.com/review Henning Magic. So that's what it is, review Henning Magic. And so I can give that to somebody and it will take them now. If they're not logged into Google, it'll ask them to log in. But then once they log in, they're in and they're right at the spot to leave a review. I ask everybody, here's my procedure for getting Google reviews. It's very, very simple. At the gig, as I'm leaving and they're telling me how great I am, I say, oh, that's so great. You know what would really be a great help to me? If you could leave a Google review. I'll send you a link. Could you do that today? Yes. Boom. I send them the link. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. If they don't, then I will text them, not email them. Texts have a much higher open rate than emails. I will text them the link or the QR code, and I say, thanks for agreeing to leave a Google review. Could you take just 5 minutes right now and let somebody know, because that'll help other people who are looking for the same kind of entertainment that you had. So I couch it, I frame it as they're helping other people find something good. And when you see a great movie or you eat at a great restaurant, you want to tell the world about it, right?
Sure.
You want to let everybody know. It's like, I found a great vegan restaurant. I want to tell all my friends, absolutely, 100%. So I try to activate that impulse where it's like, tell your friends. And then if they still haven't done it, a week later, I'll send them an email saying, thank you again for letting me work with you. It's a real privilege. Let's talk about next year's event. Oh, and by the way, and I'll do a PS, and the PS is super powerful. The by the way or the PS is one of the most powerful things you can do in an email. And I say, PS, by the way, if you haven't already done it, here's the link. Please leave me a Google review. I would certainly appreciate it, and it'll help other people find me who need what I do. Boom. And I do that. And so they get I hit them 3 times asking for the Google review. They don't do it after 3 times, they're never going to do it. And so I don't worry about it, but if I get 10%, 20% that actually leave the Google review, it's fantastic. The other thing I do, and this is important, I leave Google reviews for every business that I work with. My name is all over the internet. I leave Google. So for example, if I do a gig and I know the caterer and the caterer does a great job, I will go to the caterer's Google Business Profile and I will leave a review and I will say, yes, I was the magician at this event. And it's great. I do a lot of events and these caterers are among the best I've ever seen. And here's why. But I'm also advertising myself. They're like, oh, he's a magician. And they type in, and my name's right there. So they type in my name, and now all of a sudden, if somebody's looking for entertainment, they're like, oh, this guy works with these high-end guys like these caterers or the venue. So I'll review the hotel. I'll review the venue and I'll plug that in. So that's another way to kind of get people to find you where you're kind of piggy banking off of other businesses. The other thing, and this is a real secret weapon, you can reply to Google reviews.
Mm.
Now, most people do this when they get a bad review. Here's the secret. You reply to every review. I reply to every review. And what I do is I describe the event. I don't violate anybody's privacy. Don't get me wrong. But like if somebody says, oh, Eric came and all the kids and adults really loved it, I will say, well, this was the annual party for cancer survivors at Virginia Hospital Center. And it was such a privilege for me to be in a room with these walking miracles and to give them a little bit of a lift and to help them celebrate this beautiful thing. And I hope to be there for many years to come to see these same people and celebrate their triumph over this terrible disease, all of that. Or I'll explain, oh, here was a challenge for this event. Yeah, the room, we had some problems with the sound, or this room was not, and here's how we handled it. And it was great and it worked out really well. So I use it as kind of a case study. So each of my responses to Google reviews is kind of like a miniature case study where it was like, I did a corporate holiday party and they were like, oh yeah, Eric did a show. They said, and he also helped us out at the last minute as kind of the MC. And I said, yeah, it was so much fun to run the prize giveaway and to have fun and do that in a magical way. And now people are looking and go, oh, he can be an MC too. He can give away prizes at our holiday party. Oh, this is more value. Maybe I should get him instead of the other guy. So you can reply to every single Google review with effusive thanks and praise, tell them how great a job the client did in organizing the event, and then talk about maybe some of the specifics of that gives people an idea of what you do.
I love, 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 love all of that. And here's the thing though, for me, leaving reviews like that, whether it's Google or LinkedIn, giving LinkedIn recommendations, you are strengthening your relationships with the people who hired you, with the people who worked with you. And for me, for example, I leave a
100%.
review for every podcast guest. I will go in and I'll leave a review and they'll see that I left the review. And that's one of the things those notifications give the people. It's another, as business owners, we have to think about touch points. It's another touch point. It's another opportunity for you to stay top of mind. Now, I know, for example, with Philosopher's Tones, we're not going to generally be hired to work outside the sort of Christmas time holiday season, except for example, the Baltimore Orioles do a Christmas in June. They do a halfway to Christmas event where we've sung Christmas carols outside
Fabulous.
at Camden Yards, doing, being very, very warm in our in our Victorian era costuming, but we had a great time. And that's one of those things where people might not realize that you can do things outside what they expect of you, and that Google Business Profile gives them opportunity to see you. Now, tell me a little bit about those kinds of interactions. For example, there's a Q&A feature on the Google Business page.
Yes.
How do you use that to engage with potential clients or previous clients?
Right. Before we get to that, I want to address the Christmas in June thing, because this is where photographs come in. Because if people see you doing things at different events, or let's say, for example, you wanted to expand your brand, Izolda, and you decided you were going to do barbershop quartets, right? All you need is some photos of you guys dressed up in, early 20th century summer garb with the straw hats and the boaters and the ladies with the parasols, and you could be booked all summer and die in the heat, even more easily. I know you don't want to do that, but my point is but then having those pictures in the Google Business Profile then says, oh, these aren't just for Christmas. We can do summer stuff too. Or let's say you wanted to do madrigals for, Ren Fair type stuff, or for community things, or you wanted to do, you were going to sing songs and you were going to do Harry Potter events.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you could just have those costumes. You could take pictures of you guys in those costumes or doing those kinds of events. And then people would look at the pictures and say, oh, they do a lot of different things.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's one way to help people understand the multiple kinds of events that you do. Now, as far as the frequently asked questions or the questions and answers feature, this is great. So here's what you do. You log in, you go in to your Google business profile and you get your list. First of all, you write your list of frequently asked questions, and it's the same list that's on your website, just the one you're already using on your website. Okay. Or you can just easily think of the top 10 questions that everybody asks you. For me, it's, can you make my wife disappear? Can you give me a winning lottery ticket? Can you make the president disappear? No, those aren't the questions I'm going to answer on my Google business profile. But it's going to be like, do you do kids' birthday parties? What do you need to be in a theater? Do you work outdoors? How long is your show? That sort of thing. So you have these frequently asked questions that you've already got, and you already know what the answers are. You've got that all written down. So now you go into the search results. You go into your Google business profile as a civilian, and you ask the question, and you ask all of these questions. And then you go back and you log in, and it'll alert you, say, somebody asked a question, you should answer it. And you go in and then you answer all the questions. And those stay on your Google business profile, and those become your frequently asked questions section.
I love that. I love that very, very much. And to me, the FAQ of any kind is the company's opportunity to, it is selling, because you answer the questions, but you answer the kinds of questions that you want people to be asking and the answers you want them to have. Now, there are a lot of entrepreneurs out there who are probably listening to this and going, this is a lot. This is a lot to do. What is your advice for someone who is feeling overwhelmed by all of this stuff? Because
Sure.
hang on, before you answer, but this is one of those things when you search on your business, for example, if your business is claimed, there's a little thing that comes up at the very top that says your business on Google. And then you can edit the profile, read reviews, see if there are messages, send messages, photos, performance, advertise. You can edit the products. You can edit the services, bookings, calls, Q&A, ask for reviews, add an update. There's a lot of stuff that's possible for your business profile. It's right there as soon as you Google it. But it is a lot. So I'm going to include a little screenshot of all these possibilities in the podcast episode show notes. But I'd love it if you talk about when you're feeling overwhelmed, where do you go and what do you do if you still want to have a Google business profile?
Well, I'm going to go back to our old friend, Benjamin Franklin, who famously said, well begun is half done. So what you do is it's the old thing about how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time. What you do is you do one thing. Do one thing. Say, I'm going to upload one photo today. I'm going to upload a photo. And by the way, I'm going to make sure that that photo is 720 by 720p, that it's not more than a certain amount of memory that's, under 5 megabytes. I'm going to make it at least 250 by 250 pixels. And I'm not going to name it photo 615 or image 1215. I'm going to make a name that's going to help me in the search engines. So it might say something like Izolda at National Harbor, or Philosopher's Tones, Christmas, U.S. Capitol, or something like that. So that tag, the name of the photo file actually becomes something that the search engine uses. Because remember how search engines work. Every website is just a bunch of files, and the file name is part of what they search on. So use that. Don't just waste it by having a photo that's got a, image 001.jpg. You don't want that. You want it to say something about, Eric Henning meets the president, something like that. And that way it's going to come up. And also when people see the photo, they're going to see that title and they're going to go, oh, that's what this is. It's like a caption. So use that opportunity. Use that information. That's going to help you in the search engines, and it's going to help your clients find you. So do something small. Say, I'm going to double check the address today. I'm going to make sure the correct phone number's on there. I'm going to make sure the website is there. I'm going to click through to make sure it goes to the right place. It's going to my website. I'm going to tweak the description today. Just do one thing, even once a week. And again, if you haven't claimed your business profile yet, and you're waiting for that postcard to come with the access code so you can do all this stuff, go ahead and start a notebook and write down all the stuff you're going to do. Go ahead and start looking through your photos of your products or whatever. And by the way, Google will set you, if you're selling physical products, Google, you can set up a storefront, an online storefront on your Google business profile. In other words, you may not even need another website. You can do everything you need to do through the Google business profile. You can
Fascinating.
you can actually set it up where people can book you directly through the website for appointments or events. I mean, it's quite remarkable what you can do with this Google business profile. It's very robust. In fact, you can post to it like a blog, which brings us to, once you've got it set up the way you want, in an ongoing way, the ideal thing to do is to do blog posts on it 3 times a week.
Really? Talk to
Well,
me about that. What are you taught? Like, I know what a blog is from my website. What is a blog? Is it kind of like the videos you were talking about like, hey, Christmas in July?
You can post, the videos go into your photo bank, but the Google business profile actually has a separate thing where you're posting notices and announcements and stuff, and you can use that as a blog. And remember, the Google wants current information. They prioritize websites that have been updated the most recently, because the thing that they fear the most is you searching for something and coming up with a dead, abandoned website from 20 years ago. So the more frequently you update your website, the more frequently you update your Google business profile by doing anything, the newer those file tag dates are. Remember, it's just a bunch of files with a title and a date. The newer those dates are, the higher you're going to rank in the search engines. So if you do a blog post once a week, an announcement once a week, or twice a week, or 3 times a week, guess what's going to happen? You're going to be above other people in your area who are doing what you do in the search results.
Okay. So it sounds like you're still always going for search engine optimization, only it's specific to Google. I'm going to ask you a strange question. Not everybody uses Google. Some people use Bing or something like that. What does that do? Is it really only Google focused, or would Bing come across your Google business profile?
Well, Bing doesn't want to come across your Google business profile. But I will tell you that if you're doing, and this is probably the main reason to have another website, and to have a regular website, is that it will be found by other search engines. And you want to, again, keep it updated and keep it fresh. The way I keep my website fresh is I have a listing of my public shows, and I update that at least once a month. And that keeps the website fresh in the eyes of the search engines. So that's easy to do. I just have my web person go in and do that. The other thing is, if you're really, really feeling overwhelmed and you're in a position to do it, delegate it. Find somebody who's really good at this kind of stuff and pay them to do it. If you might have a teenager who's showing you how to use your phone. Great.
Mm-hmm.
Hire them, give them a job to do. It's tax deductible. And let them do that for you. And it's a great project and it's great fun. And I have found that when family members and friends get involved in your business, it makes them enthusiastic evangelists for your business. They become great at promoting the business because they now have a stake in it. People support what they help create. And that's really, really cool. So, you can hire somebody, you can hire a professional, but I guarantee you that if you're in the arts, you have somebody in your circle of friends who is a net.nerd, because the overlap is huge. And so you're going to find somebody who's good at this and who can easily do this in their spare time, or, because it doesn't, again, you can do this incrementally over a period of days and even weeks. You don't have to do it all at once. You can do it a little bit at a time. And every day you do something, every day you do something, it's going to make things better. So all you're doing is polishing the diamond a little bit at a time.
And the key there seems to be consistency. So one of the things that I'm sort of thinking about right now is the SBDC. And I'm going to do an entire episode on this soon because it's so important. Every state in the USA has what they call SBDC, or Small Business Development Centers. And what's really cool about them is that it is their job, if you have a small business, to help you. And they have people who literally their job is to help you maybe figure out your accounting, or figure out financing, or figure out marketing, or figure out sales for your small business. And one of the cool things for me has been interns. One of the things that you can do, because most of them are affiliated with a university, is you can get an intern. And guess what? You can pay them, or you can, if you develop a good working relationship with them, hire them for college credit. Now, you are required to teach them things too. It's not just woohoo, they work for you for free. You have to give of yourself as well, but it becomes this beautiful symbiotic relationship where, what Eric was just saying about delegating, you can delegate a lot of this stuff to an intern. Social media, keeping things up with Google, your own website, SEO, all of that. I highly, highly recommend it. I am going to do an entire website, good, my brain, an entire episode on this very, very soon. All right, Eric, let's move on, because I could keep you here all day on this, and I know that you have a day to get back to. Let me ask you about mistakes. What are some of the common mistakes that people who are business owners or creative professionals in one way or another make with their Google business profile, and how can they avoid them?
Oh boy, that's a good one. Well, the number one mistake is ignoring it, because that's like having a dingy under construction reception area for a beautiful business. People aren't going to get past it. They're not going to go in the front door to your office because they're put off by the reception area. Or it's like, if your business is a storefront, it's like having a garbage in front of it, and untrimmed plants and an unmowed lawn. So the number one mistake is ignoring the fact that you have it and not doing anything about it. Number two is having obsolete information. I moved, and I had to make sure that the Google business profile, I could change the address. Well, the Google business profile says, no, we're not going to change the address. We're going to send our postcard to the new address that you gave us. And if it's really you, then you can come back and verify it. And that's when they let me change the address. So you got to make sure the address and phone number and website are all up to date. You got to make sure that what's in the description is accurate in terms of what you actually offer, because businesses change. And for example, I'm not really doing kids parties anymore. So I will do the occasional one for a legacy client, but mostly I'm focused on adult, corporate, social, and charity events. So that's what it says in the description now. And I got rid of the photos that had me with a lot of kids, except for one or two where I'm at a wedding reception and there are kids and adults in there, and they're just really spectacular photos. So that's important. So make sure that the basic information is accurate, that your business is being depicted honestly and accurately, that people aren't going to get the wrong impression. And then the other thing they don't do is, people don't use search terms in the description and in the additional, services. They don't look up the search terms that people are searching for their kind of business, and they don't, write them organically into the text of the description. That's a big mistake that they make. The other thing is, you got to make it easy for people to contact you. There's actually a messaging function built into Google Business Profile that you can turn on and off. But there's a caveat here. You need to really be on it, because if somebody messages you through the Google Business Profile and you don't respond within 24 hours, Google will shut it down and you won't have it anymore. Because again, the priority is they want people to get what they want. So be careful about turning that on if you're working a 9-to-5 job and doing something, your art on the side, and you can't necessarily respond to a message immediately. But yeah, make it easy. Have your email and your phone there. Make it super, super easy for people to find you and to contact you. Have the accurate website. The frequently asked questions are something that the question and answers are something people frequently don't do. I haven't actually looked at mine lately. I believe that my facts are up there. They may not be. If they're not, that's what's going to happen this weekend. I'm going to add that. And the other thing is not tending to it once it's set up. If you're going to go to all the trouble to set it up, and you should, then not tending to it, not keeping it up. You need to weed the garden. You need to encourage the two things you can do that will help it and help your business immensely are encouraging every client to leave a Google review and also um, making announcements and posting like it's a blog, at least once a month, ideally once a week or three times a week is even better. But again, have something meaningful to say. If you're going to post, make it something that's of benefit to the reader, not just, we have this new product. You can say, look, instead of saying, oh, we have a new product, we're offering a magic camp. Oh, that's great. No, instead you say, are your kids bouncing around this summer and they're just really active and you want them to engage in something fun? We've got something new that's going to help all you parents engage your kids in something really fun. And the best thing is it's indoors in the air conditioning and it engages their minds and their hands and they learn some new skills. It'll make them more confident speaking in front of other people. Boom, there's your benefits right there.
Right.
That's the kind of thing you want to announce to that. And here's the website to find that. Or or attention, again, we only do this in a couple of counties in Maryland. So attention, if you're in Montgomery County, Maryland, or Anne Arundel County, Maryland, or Western Virginia, pay attention, parents. Boom. And so you let them know this is who it's for, just like you would do on social media. And so that's the kind of thing you can do. If you're a food truck, say I have a new flavor of shaved ice, or I have a new hamburger that we're selling, or we have new pastries that we're doing, or we've got this really great new rice noodle thing that we're going to offer at a food truck, whatever. The point is that when you have a new product or a new service that you offer, that's a great reason to post. And what I would encourage people to do is if they do a search on, topics for blog posts or things you can post on with your blog, you'll get about 3 million hits on that when you search, because that's a very popular thing that bloggers do to get traffic to their blogs. But you can get lists of things that you can use, reasons to make a blog post that'll benefit your clients. And you can come up with something all the time. It's not hard. It's really not hard.
It's interesting. I use something called Answer the Public. Neil Patel bought it because the person who had done the website created something that basically, if you put in a keyword, for example, for me, it might be innovation. What he's done with the person who created the site, and now Neil Patel has bought the site because it's so good, is it'll tell you the questions that people are searching that incorporate that word. So, for example, if I say innovation, the questions that people might be asking is, why do you need to innovate? Or what is innovation? And those are questions that people are literally Googling for. So you can answer those questions in your Google business profile if the keyword you're putting in is germane to your business. So that's another, I'm going to put the link to that in the show notes as well. Eric, I can keep
fantastic.
you. I know.
Absolutely fantastic. That's great. I'm going to do that today because I'm doing a Christmas in July promotion where I'm trying to get holiday bookings for the winter. And so I'm gonna put in corporate holiday party and see what happens, and then I'm gonna start posting. That's fantastic.
Yeah, I've loved it. I used it since before Neil Patel bought it, and it's wonderful. You get like 3 free questions a day or 3 free searches a day, and then you have to pay for anything additional. But each 24 hours it resets. So you do your 3 searches today. You can do 3 searches tomorrow, however you need. I love it. I think it's great. And so that brings me to a couple of last questions. First of all, Google, like you said, tells you how you've done this month. It'll send you an email. Why is that important? What is it important? What is it important? God, my brain. What is important about analyzing some of the data that you can get from your Google business profile? Why do you need it? And what can you do with it to keep building your business?
That's really good. What's important? It's important because getting people to see your Google business profile is only the tip of the iceberg. If you get a report and it says you've got 400% more traffic on your Google business profile, but you're getting fewer phone calls or fewer people are clicking through to your website or fewer people are emailing you, then that tells you that the Google business profile is ranking high in the search engines, but it's not engaging people. They're not excited about what they see. So that means you need to go in and tweak your Google business profile to appeal to them. You can also find out from Google how people are finding your Google business profile and what search terms they're using to find you, which is really, really helpful. And that may give you a clue as to what they're looking for. And you can make sure that becomes almost like a question they're asking. And you can make sure that answer is in your business description, is way high up there, so that it's right up front. And that will hopefully help people engage with you more. So if people are going to your business profile and they're stopping and they're going to the next person's website, or they're looking at somebody else, then you need to make sure that what they're seeing is matching what they're looking for. There's a disconnect there somewhere, and you got to figure out where that is.
And that's important right there. And there's so much of this there's a psychology around all of this. There's a lot of stuff like that you can lose yourself in that and sort of float away from the really practical stuff. So and we could talk about the psychology of marketing.
Well, the bottom line is that SEO is only half the battle. Getting them to see you on a web search is only part of it. They have to look at you and they have to say, "Oh, I want to know more." So you've got to engage their interest.
Absolutely. And that can be difficult if you don't have the basics, sort of the foundation nailed down. And you mentioned something earlier in the episode that you were going to talk about, and I kind of want to bring it back around to this. You said somebody spoke at convention and there's a book that really helped you see how to look at your Google business profile in a different way and to really optimize it. And you've gotten such a huge triple or quadruple the hits before. Can you say what the book is? Because I'd love to put a link to the book. Also, I don't know if you have an affiliate link with this person, but if you do, send me that.
I have no financial interest in this, which is a shame. But
yeah.
So he's a young man. He's very, very good. He's a computer guy, but he's also a professional entertainer. So he understands it from both sides. His name is Fernando Alvarez Jr. And I'll send you the website. It's basically fernalvarezjr.com. So it's FERNALVAREZJR.com.
Mm-hmm.
And basically you can email him. You can buy a website that's a website template from him. It's mainly for entertainers. So don't worry, he does custom stuff, but if that doesn't match, that's fine. But he also has an ebook that he sells for $47 on how to rank your business #1 on Google, so you can start generating traffic for free. And the beauty of this is that that it has stuff that we haven't even talked about, like, for example, accumulating all the link backs from other websites to your website, and local citations is a thing where other local businesses mention your business, and then that boosts you in the search in Google searches for your Google business profile there, and how you can curate that for free using there's some free online tools that enable you to do that, which is fantastic. So he has a lot of stuff in this book. It's totally worth it. And again, what I did, and again, this is something I recommend. I happen to have somebody who is really good with websites and this kind of stuff, and I can do it too. I mean, I've been building websites since the 90s, but I don't have time. I've got a household to run. I got a young son that just graduated from high school. I've got a business to run. I'm busy. So I could do it, but what I did is I delegated it and I paid for it, and I basically bought the book and I handed it to her. And I said, read the book, do whatever it says. And that's when I started seeing the results. And so Karen is great, and she's running all of this for me. And we've got all of this, it's going on, which is great. So if you have somebody else that can just go through, and it's just like checklists, it's just like going through it, kind of turning off your brain and just going through it and doing boom, boom, boom. And again, if you're going to do it yourself, and you can, everybody who's listening to this is completely competent and smart enough to do this. It's not hard. It's just a little time consuming. Just pick one thing. Just say, I'm going to upload 3 photos today. I'm going to upload 5 photos today. I'm going to upload a video of a client testimonial today, or I'm going to send a recent client a request. I'm going to create that QR code and I'm going to save it in my photos, and I'm going to send it to the client that I worked for last week and ask him for a Google review. Just one thing. Just do one thing. And if you do a little bit at a time, before you know it, you're going to have this thing all tricked out the way you want it. And you're going to be seeing a nice flow. But again, there are 2 paths here. There are 2, as the song says, there are 2 paths that you can go on. and um, and so one path is somebody sees your Google business profile and just calls you. And another path is they click through to your website, learn more about you, and then they contact you. You want to make both of those as easy as possible. And one of the things you can do is have people who don't know you very well, or friends or acquaintances, say, go through this and tell me how easy it is to figure out what I do and why it's good. And they'll come back and they'll say, yeah, I had trouble finding this, or I didn't understand what this meant, or whatever. That's going to give you a lot of good feedback. Get other pairs of eyes on it. That'll help you a lot, because sometimes, I can do this and you can do this. Get your friends who own businesses, do it for each other, right? Because you know how easy it is to help somebody else with their business and how hard it is to do your own, because we're so close to it, right? So, if I have a friend who runs an auto repair shop, I'll say, look at my website and look at my Google business profile and see, how easy it is to figure out stuff. And then they'll say, oh yeah, I'll do the same for you. I'll look at your Google business profile. I'll look at your website, and I'll see if I can understand and get a clear picture of what it is you do. And I already know their business, so I can tell if what they're putting online accurately reflects what they actually do.
Those are such great bits of advice. And it's interesting. There's a lot of resistance, I think, for a lot of us to work on our businesses, because we go, I'm afraid of mucking it up or whatever. Google is pretty forgiving about that sort of thing. If you muck it up, you can edit it, you can delete it, you can do all sorts of things. But one of the key and most crucial sort of little business nuggets that I've ever gotten is there's a difference between working on your business and working in your business. And there's an investment to be made here to work on your business, to grow your business. So what Eric is saying about hiring someone, what I was saying earlier about getting an intern, something like that, those are working on your business. And I understand a lot of us are financially in a place where we may not have the ability to delegate, but small steps yield great rewards. And also we have a little bit of mindset shifting that we can do, each of us, in remembering that we deserve the good stuff. So that's a big deal for me.
You know what? But they're also, listen, how about a high school kid that wants to have something on their resume, but they don't want it to be working in they want to do computer science. So let's say you get a 16, 17, 18-year-old who wants to, they'll let them do an internship, and you can pay them, or sometimes you don't even have to pay them, but they'll do this stuff for you. And then you write them this glowing letter and say, yes, they spent this many hours on it and it did this great things for my business. And now they put that in their college application packet, or they put it in their application for a job, for an internship. When they graduate from high school, they want to do a summer internship at a big computer company. Well, they've already done some stuff. They've got some experience now. And people are like, oh, good, somebody we don't have to train. So you can actually be helping somebody build their resume who maybe is, not necessarily going to be able to get a real job doing this immediately out of the box, but it can give them some experience. And so they're just look for win-wins, look for partnerships where everybody comes out a winner. I'm not saying exploit people with nothing in return. I would never say that. What I'm saying is find ways that, people who have, we're able to do this, because we've got a whole generation of young people for whom this is as easy as breathing. They'll look at it and go, oh yeah, you need to do this, this, and this, and this. That's easy. I can do that in an afternoon. It's frightening somehow, sometimes how good these kids are.
Oh yeah.
I see it with my son and his friends all the time. So what I'm saying is, the resources are out there. Let's just connect up and say, look, if like I say, I can be a reference. You can be a job reference for them.
Absolutely. I've been for Peter, the intern who was so wonderful for me last year. I have been a reference for a couple of different jobs that he's applied to, and also other internships that he's wanted, things like that. And again, it's a symbiotic relationship. It's mutually beneficial. And that, to me, as you said, look for the win-wins. Eric, again, I have like 14 more questions, but
oh no, really? We didn't get to your questions?
No, we did, but the thing is what happens to me as you're talking is I go, oh, and I want to know about this, and oh, I want to know about so I let the conversation flow, and then I looked and I'm like, yeah, they're out of the 15 questions. I have no, I won't say 14. It's 9. I have 9 questions left, and you know what? This is a good thing because we have other.
Let's pick one question to get to, and then we'll close out. Pick one question to get to.
No. Actually, I think do not ever feel bad. This is such a valuable conversation. Honestly, no. Because here's the thing. Honestly, what you're talking about is something that a lot of newer entrepreneurs have never even thought about. But even sort of the more established entrepreneurs and business owners, especially if they're creatives, aren't necessarily thinking about it. So it's good to get the building blocks, and let's beat overwhelm and not go, and let's talk about this and let's talk about that. I get that way because I get very excited. And that doesn't mean, though, that it's the best or the most appropriate thing. So let's just finish out by asking you, if somebody wants to know more about you, your services as a professional magician, but also your services with the Money Arts Academy, can you please give all of that? Because I know people learn differently. How can somebody find Eric Henning, professional magician and financial expert, online, in addition to your Google business profile?
Right. Well, you can just search on Eric Henning, and I will just tell you right now that I am not the Nashville country singer. I'm not the retired insurance commissioner of Michigan. Neither am I the Swedish scientist who's the world's leading expert on dragonflies. I am actually the magic guy. But so Eric Henning Magic is the main website, and through that you can find out our performances, or you can go to WashingtonMagic.com. The Arts Club of Washington, which is the old James Monroe Presidential Mansion on I Street in Washington, D.C., is dark for the summer, for July and August, while they renovate their kitchen. We'll be back in September with what has been called the best date night in D.C.
All right.
It's at WashingtonMagic.com. So the third website is MoneyArtsAcademy.com. And that's where I do coaching. I do show coaching. I do money coaching for businesses. I've worked with performers. I have a student who's a photographer. I've worked with all different sorts of people. Again, I try to help with the business side if I can. And that seems to be something that a lot of people need. And if you scroll down, you can schedule a free 30-minute consultation. And if you mention Izolda as the special code, Izolda, Izolda, then that automatically turns the 30-minute consultation into a 60-minute Zoom consultation where we find out where it hurts and give you some ideas about how to take care of it.
That is fabulous. Thank you so much. That's very generous. See, I said you're very generous, very gracious. I appreciate very much. If you're listening to this, you know that if you are any sort of a business owner, but especially a creative entrepreneur, a creative business owner, you need to follow Eric Henning. I'm going to put all of the various links in the show notes so that you can get to them very quickly and very easily. I'm also going to put a link to that book from Fernando Alvarez Jr. and Answer the Public and all of that other stuff. You can find it all in the show notes, because if you're working on a business, you need to be working on your business. That's just how it is. We live in the world of the entrepreneur, and it's a really good idea to come up with innovations and creative solutions to make your business grow, and really to allow you to serve as many people as possible with the magic that only you can bring. Eric, thank you so much for being here. As always, you're fabulous.
Oh, thank you very much, Izolda. It's really my privilege. I love sharing this information and helping people. And the thing that makes me the happiest is seeing somebody who is a creative entrepreneur actually thrive in their business and be able to do what they love and make a living doing it.
Ah, that's wonderful. I appreciate that so much about you. You are amazing. This is Izolda Trachtenberg for the Creative Solutions Podcast. This has been Money Monday with professional magician and financial expert Eric Henning. If you like what you've heard, you know what to do. Subscribe to the show, tell a friend, go to Money Arts Academy or erichenningmagic.com or leave a review for the show, because it does have its own little Google listing. Leave a review for the show either on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It would mean the world to me. Until next time, this is Izolda Trachtenberg for the Creative Solutions Podcast. As always, reminding you to be bold, be creative, and most of all, be kind. Thanks so much for joining me today. I really appreciate you being here. Please subscribe to the show if you're new, and it would mean the world to me if you told a friend about it. Today's episode was produced by Izolda Trachtenberg and is copyright 2024. As always, please remember this is for educational and entertainment purposes only. Past performance does not guarantee future results, although we can always hope. While Eric Henning teaches general principles of money and does individual business coaching, he cannot and does not provide investment, tax, or legal advice. Please consult a professional licensed in your place of residence for specific tax, legal, or investment advice.